So that's phase 2, phase 6. I still haven't calculated what that is in days from the beginning. You'd think you'd be able to just add that up, but I'm not good at math, so fuck it. Again, so I just checked the weight on the scale, nothing changed. So it's like, but I'm like, okay, starting to feel better, starting to get energy, getting through this stuff, because this is like, it's been a psychological mess in going through this process. And I say, because there's not, like, it's how you feel about yourself again, right? These are the things that playing on my head, and then I've had these physical things, and this goes back to too, I think I'm getting my period, which has been all over the place. So as women, it is crazy. And I noticed yesterday, I'm like, I think I'm PMSing, because I was just randomly mad at my dog, right? I was just randomly mad at him, right? The poor dog, right? I would never take it out, for the record. I'm very aware. These are the things and the thoughts. Like when you get, I got suddenly so tired yesterday, went from nothing, like all of a sudden, like, I'm so tired, I gotta just close my eyes. Okay, do that instead of going to the cupboard and binge eating or doing these things. These are the things you can read, like all these, take these steps and this, have this list, go for a walk, go whatever. But the core of it can actually relate to something else. And that goes back to, funny enough, I'll say with this diary thing, everybody's life's different, right? So I'm being like this diary thing, brutally honest with where I'm at and where the changes are and how that actually relates to the body, food, cravings, chemistry, of all that. So for my situation in my set, I'm like, say kind of, because you have, as an adult, and it's a tough thing. So like I tested a theory with traumas and different stuff. So I'm healing from, and this is part of that goes back to the body and it connects. So not everybody's going to have that same story, but a lot of people do have a lot of trauma, and it does tie back. And I had to prove this to myself with the PTSD, where our brains go, what happens and how that affects the body. So having trauma at a very young age obviously then messed me up in different ways when it came to attention from different things about my body. Then having a mother with an eating disorder, then having, different houses, and then a father with you, this is what you have to eat, and too bad, so sad, and then like all over the place. So that's where my kind of stuff comes from. And then what I would try, tested theories. So it's been for me 2 years since I've been with anybody. And that is a healing in itself that I realized for the brain that's actually triggered me to understand why I feel the way I do. And I've had really realized this in the last 2 months as I've gone through this process, how that's tied to eating. So I was actually talking to this with my friend yesterday when we were out for dinner, because I was like, okay, my sex drive is out of 10, 1,000, but I'm not interested in being with the wrong things, because I'm actually healing the brain in that process. And I'm shy, so it's uncomfortable for me to talk about if I'm like making it that or thing. Like I do other videos, like in this process, I've been a lot of healing by talking to my phone and different things that's come out with character. And then I've developed story from that. That's actually been a part of the healing process. When I do a video diary to talk about those things, I get like, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the truth, and I have to talk about it. So people would understand that everybody's different, but the psychology of that and healing trauma and sexual abuse, because so many women that I've talked to, and I'm sure men do it too, but on the female side, especially when it comes to the body or different things, if you've been in different places, but I know people who haven't had trauma. But I was talking to a girlfriend, before, and she was telling me about, sexual experiences she's had. And she's like, yeah, I just had sex with this person, but I didn't want to. And I felt that, and I'm like, wow, how many people do that, or been in situations where we give our bodies away and we don't not even realize, like, that's saying no is so important for ourselves and our healing. So why did you do that, right? And understanding this is not the judgment of doing it. This is questioning why people do what they do. And most people don't go back and analyze why they did what they did. Why? Because it's generally painful, or it brings up something that they feel shame for. Right? And that's so much of it. And so the core of me and my issues with sexual abuse was that guilt and that shame, anything tied to sex, which I had to kind of go around and understand where my psyche came from, because my stepfather and my patterns was like, he would sexually abuse me, buy me things, sexually abuse. So it created a lot of issues around gift giving and receiving for me. I don't easily take things. And I'm also extremely stubborn, because I've also learned that there's an attachment to that. But then I also attached, because my lack of self-worth for love, giving love away so much that I wasn't giving it to myself, which actually caused me to crash. So coming back around in this healing process, which I've discovered with the brain, and I was talking to my other friend yesterday when she was saying, I'm like, the instinct, it's like I've gone back to like an animal instinct of the sex drive being so high that also comes with the food cravings that I've had to realize. I feel like an animal, but my physical doesn't have that release. Like something happened with my body that I'm like in quicksand. I don't have energy. I'm tired. I'm all over the place. But the thoughts are out of control. So this is where it goes to like, how calm can you get? So I talked about yesterday when people have a hard time sitting with their thoughts, the ADD, the uncomfortableness. I know it in myself when I'm bored. I don't want to work. It's the distraction. So then I want to go eat. Okay, well, people, it's the same psychology at that base. I'm really realizing of all kind of addictions in different ways. It's just what, like I myself in my lifetime have never touched an illegal drug ever, right? And I'm not, this goes back to the psychology, no judgment on the people that I've had, because I had to see these things, how they're tied, right? And where that comes from, and why people, what distraction do you go to, and why, and that has a lot to do with how we were raised, what environments we have, how easily money's been in our life, if we have to go, like how we get it, because everything at the core of everything's an exchange. But that goes back to the root, right, in the brain of the original, it's like the reptilian brain. I had to go as far back as I could into it because I'm a survivor, right? Everything in me is a survivor, and I had to understand that, which triggered all of these things. That's made it's like internally all these things shift, which is where I would have been challenged before, not being able to do certain things. So I'm reprogramming so much of my brain that it's like, oh, okay, you got to give yourself a break here in this process. Because, and I said, so my stuff is, this is very intense, right? And like, because I've been doing this for years, I've just been doing it in different phases. So even when I say phase 2, you know, whatever, day 6, that's a different part of what I've done in other phases to get me to this, to then turn around to get people to understand that and help. And this is what goes, like, it is, you know, cognitive therapy, because we're working on the brain and the thoughts and recognizing that, but in an unconventional way. Because like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm and I never claimed to be, nor right in the storytelling, I created a character that became my own doctor because the doctors failed me. Do I think all doctors are bad? Absolutely not. I just in my lifetime haven't met one yet that actually understood or could understand these things. And I went, I have to document this process, and I have to do everything, but also be aware of what goes in my head so much to reprogram myself. That's like when your back's against the wall and it's a life or death situation. And for me it was. And I say that because suicide was always on my brain in my life all of the time. And when things fell apart, like only for a short period of time in my life did I not think about suicide. So I'm 39, and the majority of my life, the background was always suicidal thoughts. So there's sort of the mental health component, the self-worth component. Okay. And then tying that back to external things. A lot of people can tie that back. You have to ask yourself truly, what's your external thing that you might be tying to? So for some people, as I said, it goes money, status, things. I want all that stuff in my life, but for the right reasons. When it went the wrong way, I go, no. But my core issue was my self-worth when it came to my appearance, which then I would sabotage when I got the wrong type of attention. So going back to the sexual energy and the different things, feeling it from the wrong people and the wrong attention, I realized spun me out. And I had to get that core. So it's like, oh, you're in this outfit, you're a whore, you're this and that. And that is embedded, right? Because the wrong type of attention would really, really trigger me. And I would get so angry. But it's like, you have to get over that too, that fuck these people's opinion, they're wrong. Obviously the core issue and the opinion I had of myself, that's where it came from. Because if you don't feel like you can just be in your body, in your side, in your thing, like, and be proud of your body and love your body, whatever shape, size, clothing, things, then you're gonna have a problem. And I had a problem, and it would crash. So I'd say post something that I'd feel good, like I'd go to the camera, I'm dancing, I'm doing something that was part of my healing. then I would post a little, like a little bit of stuff, and right now it goes to, okay, this, and I understand things, where the audience, what type of response, why is it going there, what is it, and I tested these things over the last number of years. If I put it here, well, the reactions I got, and without doing anything said, it create, like, the reactions I got from people based on their judgments and prejudice would trigger me, and then I finally was able to see how wrong these people were, because I was documenting my own journey, realizing, well, I'm nothing like that. Well, I'm nothing like that. Well, I'm nothing like that. And that's actually what helped me heal. But you have to be able to take the criticism, the hate, and the judgment from those people, and you have to determine if they're worthwhile being in your life at all. But if you don't set those boundaries and those perimeters for yourself first, you're going to struggle. And that's what I realized. I'm like, hold on, these people actually don't know me, if that's the type of stuff I'm getting. Or if, you get stupid messages or something that's just like, pass it off. It's not even like, okay, that's stupid, just delete or whatever, because that comes with an energy. And when you put stuff out there, so depending on where you're at, like if you're a person, you might be an influencer already, or you might be a person who's not comfortable at all posting, right? And I say that because there's an actual energy that comes at you from people, right? So some people are afraid of that. Okay, well, I don't want to put myself out there because of the judgments. Well, you got to start testing things for yourself and get comfortable in your own skin, because you should, well, you don't have to, you should, it's wrong, but you're allowed, and this is what I'm empowering people to feel good about yourself, to feel good about your body, right? Or whatever you're doing, right? And then at the same time, the people that are putting out, influencing or doing different things, have to understand that comes from an energy, and it can spin you out, especially when the numbers get higher and higher with who's looking at your stuff and who's commenting and who's doing things, right? So it's fallen into this rhythm that's the right for you with the right intentions, though. Not this, fuck it attitude. I don't care about what anyone thinks of me. I'm going to do whatever I want with this bad attitude. That's actually not, see that too. That's not, right? There's the way the world flows, right? Like, we want to be kind to each other in the different things, but it's like, you do whatever the hell you want to do. Don't hurt anybody in the process doing it. That's the big things. But so much hate thrown at people when they're put out on put something out, and then so much hate thrown at them, and then other people are so afraid to do it because of that response. But it's like, well, fuck, right? Well, why? And I say that because nowadays, right, you can make money online like it's nothing. You turn around, find the right thing for you, you have an opportunity. You could, build something up and find a hobby, you can enjoy it, but then you want to make sure you have this good balance in this modern world of being in the real world and being behind a screen, like this balance. And then I know people that are so about, they don't understand that the modern world and the technology and the things and the benefits that can come from to free up somebody's life, so that they can actually have, really at the end of the day, it's what are you doing with your time? If you don't respect your time, you're going to have a hard time. Right? But so coming back around to the animal basic instinct, well, if you're like, I'm struggling, why are you struggling? You have to ask yourself that and be brutally honest. It's because the internal dialogues are like, it brought up so much stuff, which is actually the chemistry of the body, which affects the brain, which affects the moods, so it's all of it connected. And that comes from both internal and external. So that's kind of like getting so solid in understanding yourself and where it comes from, so you can work on the next thing. I'm like overly, so I did right. So said it's a put thing, but not everybody would want to do that, right? Because that's saying, but if somebody has like a sex addiction, a thing that goes back to a self-worth thing. And I said, this is not a judgment thing. I want to say this. Right, so my situation, coming from a marriage, being with only one person for, a very long time, then going, no, I don't want to be with anybody until I can heal and figure stuff out. I want to test that theory. It's like a monk type thing, I guess, worked, right, from the trauma, because it actually brought me back to the brain of before. So I had no memory. So in 2020, I got my memory back in a flash, and then I've been getting my memory back since on my life, which actually then helped me heal. And it was a big part of it because I wasn't allowing just any, like, it was a boundary setting thing, and I had to take the extreme to go as far as I did. Not every, like, you might be in a marriage, like, whatever your situation, but understand every, like, it's a lack of self-worth thing when we're just spreading yourself out so thin, because you actually, that's the highest form of energy exchange in, well, anyone, but in particular, like, right, humans and our brain, is sex. And if you're just giving that energy away, you've taken in a lot of energy. So it and understand that. And there's a cleansing component that would, like, to that, to evolve. And if you're feeling like you're out of balance and so out of whack and so out of control, it might be something you might want to look, if that's been an issue, look at, okay, who am I sharing myself with? When am I sharing myself with? And if I'm not, why am I not at all? Like, where's this? Like, so if you're completely lacking that sex drive and that feel, maybe not taking care of yourself, maybe not feeling good, but like, and wanting to do anything. Well, that's not right. That's our drive actually comes from having that, like, arousal and sex drive, which kind of comes from, like, okay, well, if you're taking care of yourself, you feel good about yourself, you want to attract that. So it's like this goes back to kind of like this really is bipolar, but it totally can be totally opposite. So how do you find yourself that middle ground so you live your best life, be the best version of yourself, and actually, like, respect your body, love your body, and know your worth? It's worthwhile for you to take care of your body and love it.